Greetings, Earthlings. Rivers here. I want to tell you a couple of little stories about my wonderful mom. Her name was June Karoline Samuelsen Harris. She was born in 1933, and her parents were this really cute little Danish immigrant couple. It was Wilfred and Valborg Samuelsen. My grandma, or my momor, went by Val to friends, and then I didn't meet my grandfather. He died a couple of years before I was born from a heart attack, but yet I have his name, Wilfred, as my middle name, and I've always loved my middle name. And I love the way that my momor would talk about her beloved Wilfred. He died in 1952, and I believe my grandmother passed away in like 1996 or something like that. At any rate, she was a widow for a long period of time. And into this little family, this little Danish immigrant family, and they lived at a home at 1821 South, 700 East, still there, on busy 700 East. They grew up in this home, and my grandfather owned a photo engraving business, and it was successful, but he struggled during the Depression and during the war years, but he was able to make a good go of it and earn a decent living. But at any rate, my cute mom was the middle of three girls. There was Rosemary, my mom June, and my aunt Kathleen, or Cass, I called her, Aunt Cass. Anyway, these cute three daughters of a Danish immigrant family. And my mom said it was back when she was about 10 years old. She was able to take a year, maybe a year and a half of piano lessons. Nothing spectacular. And I don't know if it was money issues or what was the problem, but she didn't have any more music lessons than that. She was also, I always thought this was interesting, she was ambidextrous, which meant that she wasn't athletic at all, but if she were, she could throw a ball right-handed the same way that she could throw a ball left-handed. And I would have killed to have that. And that's a pretty cool skill. And you'll see where this talent of hers, this gift of being ambidextrous, came back to really bless her life. Well, time went on, and she met and married my dad, and they had an idyllic marriage. And they had 5 kids. I'm the oldest. And they were just a wonderful couple. Well, my mom got a bee in her bonnet when she turned 60 years old, that she wanted to take up piano again. Now, remember, it had been 50 years since she had had piano lessons, but she and a friend of hers, they found a piano teacher who kind of specialized in teaching piano to older women who were like my mom, who had taken it when they were young, and then for whatever reason, usually for raising kids or whatever, they wanted to learn it again. And so in my family, I had always thought that there was no musical talent, and money was tight enough when I was growing up that, I was playing baseball and basketball and things like that, but music wasn't front and center. And I used to think that the reason why it wasn't front and center is because there was no musical talent. My amazingly cool father, who had a little bit of a juvenile delinquent streak in him, his mom rented a violin for him to start learning to play the violin. And if you knew my dad, you would know that he's not the violin sort of playing person. he would have thought it was effeminate. And so while he was taking these lessons, somehow the violin ended up being thrown into the Jordan River. Nice job, Dad. And so we used to joke about that, and and I barely even knew that my mom had taken a year of piano. So she gets to year 60, and they have a little bit more disposable income, and my dad buys her a baby grand piano and puts it in a prominent place in the living room of their home at 2992 Willow Creek Drive. And my mom started taking lessons. And guess what? It turns out that she was remarkably talented, and that her ambidextrousness came in really handy on playing these very, very sophisticated piano pieces. She particularly liked Rachmaninoff, playing pieces that were, and these were crazy pieces that were very, very difficult. And it was a way for my mom to kind of escape the pain of some back surgeries gone amiss, and she was had a lot of pain going on. And when she played the piano, it kind of got her mind off of it. And so a lot of times I'd wander over to my folks' place and I would hear this beautiful piano music. And first of all, I have to tell you that I never thought I'd hear that unless it was on some sort of sound system. But I would go into the front room, and there was my cute mom just going to town, playing these lovely classical piano pieces. And she was in these kind of recitals that we would go to. And I just was so proud of her. And my dad was incredibly supportive for my mom. And up until the very end, I think really up until maybe a day or two before she passed away, she would spend time on her little baby grand piano, playing the piano. And so I just wanted to tell you about this lovely little thing. Oh, and then the one piece that she played that I could listen to over and over again, and I want it played at my funeral, by the way, is Clair de Lune by Debussy. Is that how you pronounce it? And I just love that piece. And whenever I hear it, it reminds me of my mom, who was such a good and wonderful woman and wonderful wife. And she was so dang funny. So I think that you have to kind of think about maybe what hidden talents do you have that need to be uncovered. And I hope you don't wait until you're 60 like my mom did, but at least she did it. And she worked and worked and worked on it, and she poured herself into practicing. And she became a wonderful pianist. And I'm so proud of her. But I just wanted you to know that this cute little Mormor, my mom, started up piano at the age of 60. And so if you feel inspired to do something musically, do it. And also remember that the family musical well is not a dry hole. And that's what I needed to leave you with.